Narc Survivor. You always talk about how we must ignore the narcissist, we must go no contact, we must avoid them. They ask, but what will a narcissist do in response to that? How will they react to it? And yeah, that's a really good question, because you've got to look at it like this. You are their supply. You are their source of validation, control, a sense of superiority. You made them feel better about themselves. So of course, when they lose you, when you go, they are going to feel it. It is going to affect them. But some of you, you still have your doubts about this. You think that the narcissist is just going to move on and forget about you, find someone else so easily to replace you, as though you never mattered, as though you never meant anything to them. But I can tell you that nope, that really is not the case. That really isn't the truth. And you've just got to remind yourself, of everything you gave, everything you provided to them, everything they got from you. And let's not forget, everything they robbed, everything they stole, everything that they needed so badly. You've got to remember all of those things. You've got to remember everything they put you through. Because not just the good things they got from you. Remember the bad things they did to you as well. It was very important for them to do that, for them to put you through it, for them to make you feel miserable, down, confused, for them to exploit you. It was very important for them to do all of that and never forget it. Because even then you were giving them supply. You were making them feel powerful, important, relevant, significant. As though they had the power to affect you. They had the power to bring you down. So even the negative things, yes, you were still doing something for them. Even when they were arguing with you, they were loving it. They loved battling it out with you. They loved trying to prove you wrong. They loved putting you in your place. They loved doing all of that. So it's not just the good things, it's the negative things too. Even the times where they try to make it out like something was wrong with you, as though they weren't happy with you. Really they were, you were feeding into it. It was making them feel good. It was giving them something to do, an opportunity for them to escape their feelings of boredom, an opportunity for them to escape. So you were doing all of this for them. You were their provider. You provided them with attention, admiration, validation, control, superiority, money, sex, maybe a place to stay. And as well as that, you were that emotional punching bag, maybe their personal ATM. You were all of these things for them. And not only that, but they trained you, groomed you, over a long period of time to make you suitable for them, and they became accustomed to that, to your very unique, very specific source of supply, which is composed of good things and bad things too, or at least what you would be considering as bad things, such as when they're putting you down and abusing you, but for them that's good. For them, that's making them feel good. So all of this is going on. You're giving all of this to them. And also, even when they go off with a new supply, they're still getting supply from you. You're still doing something for them when they're flaunting this stuff to you. And also when they're going around talking about you, smearing your name, it seems like they've got a problem with you when they're playing the victim and everyone has to give them sympathy and attention. It seems like you're a problem, but all of this is doing something for them. Even when it seems like the opposite is true. So yeah, never remember what you gave. Never forget what you provided. Sorry, my words are a bit mixed up because all of this music is playing in the background, all of this noise. It's very distracting. But I'm doing the best that I can to focus. That's why I rented this house for 1 week, in the hopes that I would be alone, in the hopes that I wouldn't be so distracted this time. But again, never forget everything you gave, everything you provided, everything they took, everything they used, everything they stole. And never forget how specific it was for them, customized, tailor-made for them specifically. And then just think about how much work it would take for them to turn someone else into that. Although, yes, sometimes they do try. And that's how you often see them downgrade, and it's like they were the lesser version of you. They're trying to create a clone of you. That's how you will often see that. And that's not proof that they've moved on. That's proof that they can't forget about you. That they are not over you. That they can't move on. And it's all because of this amazing supply that you provided them with. Everything you gave to them, everything you were for them. They can't move on. They can't forget about it. You're still relevant. Because you became their reference point. You set the bar for them. So yeah, they're not just going to forget about you. They're not just going to move on so easily. They're not just going to go off and find a new target, a new victim. That's never going to happen in many cases. And I know that's not going to happen for you because you must have been a grade A source of supply. You may be thinking about how they have all of these other exes. Can they not forget about them as well? But are all of these other exes also watching my videos? Trying to learn about this, trying to understand? My guess would be no. And that's what's unique about you. That's how you know that you were special. That's how you know that you stood out. That's how you know that you were important to them. And they're not going to be able to move on from you so easily. It's not going to be that simple for them. And instead what they will do is they'll try and come back. They'll try and mimic your personal growth. They'll try and love bomb you again, pull you back in. Give you fake compliments, act like they've changed, fake apologies, fake epiphanies, whatever it takes. Maybe even sob stories. Maybe even playing the victim directly to you. Giving you these fake crises, these fake emergencies. Whatever it takes to get you to believe in them again. To believe that things could be better. To believe that things could be different. But even if you give them another chance, even if you take them in again, it's only a matter of time until it gets worse. Because they do have a memory. Their memory of the horrible things they did to you, that may not be so strong. How they see it is what they got from you. They do remember that. Because their supply is very important to them. So they remember how they treated you to some extent. They remember what they got away with, how easy it was for them. So the next time they come back, if you let them back in, after a certain amount of time, they're just going to carry on where they left off. They're going to think that they can treat you that same way again, if not worse. They will expect to get more from you this time, in a shorter amount of time. And if they don't, they're not going to be happy. Which means the devaluation phase is going to be even worse as well. It's not going to be any better. And the more times you accept them back, the worse it's going to get. But what happens if you don't fall for the love bombing? Then they're going to be really angry about it. They're going to be angry even if you do accept them back, even if you do fall for the love bombing. They might seem nice and happy initially, but there's a lot of resentment brewing. Because you left them, you went no contact, you ignored them. Maybe you forgot about them, you focused on something else. So there's a lot of bitterness, a lot of resentment there. And they feel the need to punish you for that, for holding them off. Even if they are love bombing you, just give it time. But if you don't fall for the love bombing, then you're going to see the mask slip more quickly. They're just going to show you how they're feeling. They're going to show you who they are. And they're not going to hide it. Because now they know it's not working on you. They can't get anything out of you. You're not falling for it. So why would they bother acting if they know that you're not going to fall for their acts? And that's why they won't bother acting. Instead, they may just go straight to insulting you, calling you names, putting you down, just trying to hurt you emotionally, discrediting you, trying to prove that you're not really happy without them, smearing your name, turning people against you, triangulating you with their new supply, sabotaging you, trying to prevent your efforts of moving on. They will do all of this stuff because their ego cannot take it. You've got to remember, you provided so much to them: supply, validation, maybe money, resources. They built a false identity off of all of this stuff. And you were the provider for that. You stabilized them for a certain amount of time until you became a threat to them, and then they had to put you down. They had to create this false narrative about you. They had to throw you under the bus in order to save themselves. And so now it becomes a threat to their ego. It affects their sense of importance when they see you distracted from them, when they see you moving on, focusing on other things. It really hits their ego. It bruises their ego, their sense of self-importance, because their false identity is based off of you. It's based off of what you provided to them throughout all of that time. Essentially, it's like you were their parent and they were your baby, your child. You were taking care of them. And of course, with a child, what happens when the parent just disappears one day? Of course, that's going to affect the child's ego. It's going to affect their sense of importance, because the child's identity is based off of the parent, with the parent being their caretaker. And this is how it is. This is how it always is, when you're around someone. And they're almost like a leader for you. They're a provider. Your identity is going to be formed off of them. But they need this continuously from you, because with them, it isn't real. They're not really anything like you. They're just putting on an act. They're mirroring you, and they're also reflecting this to other people as well to get supply from them. So this is what they're doing. And so when you ignore them, when you go no contact, when you try and move on, it's a real problem for them. They get really mad. They lash out if you don't fall for the love bombing. And they're just trying to figure out some way to control you. to keep you trapped. Because yeah, they recognize that you have value. Yes, they know that they need you. That's why they're trying to contain you, isolate you, stop you from moving on, stop you from getting away. I mean, as a last resort, sometimes they may try and destroy you if they can't control you. But if they do see an opportunity to regain control in some sort of way, to where they can reap the benefits and rewards from you, then typically they're not going to just go all out and try to destroy you. They'll try and destroy your efforts of moving on. And this is it, sometimes they'll try and get you fired from your job and affect you financially. When they're doing that, it's because it's your energy, your attention, your validation. That is more important to them than your money or your connections. And that could be the case sometimes, especially if we're talking about narcissists who really just had their emotional needs neglected as a child. It gets to a point where it's just the attention is more important to them than anything else. But some narcissists, they are very impulsive and reckless. So, they can do some crazy things sometimes, and they're just in the moment. They're not really thinking about it, about the consequences, about how it might affect them after. They're just doing these things, and they're really just trying to control you. But they will just do anything they can to control you. It's like they see you running away, they see you trying to move on, or they'll just go and try and break your legs so that you can't run away. I mean, maybe not literally in most cases, but just as an analogy. They might try and break your legs so that you can't run away from them. And they're not thinking about how that may affect them later on. All they're thinking about is control, and sometimes control does include destruction. To disable you. And believe it or not, but yes, sometimes afterwards, they may feel regrets. They don't feel sorry for you, they kind of just feel sorry for themselves. And even then, it's just like, they're blaming you. It's like, look at what you made me do. I had to do this to you. If I didn't, then you would have abandoned me. Then what would I have done? Is how they think. So they will do these crazy, impulsive, reckless things to you. And it can leave you very confused. It's like, didn't you care about this? Didn't you care about my job? Didn't you care about the money I was making for you? Everything I was providing to you? And it's not that they didn't, because you may have remembered before, they're having a great time off with you. It's just that, when they feel slighted, when their ego is challenged and they feel unimportant, like they're being abandoned and they've lost that control, they will do anything to get it back. They will disable you, destabilize you, whatever it takes. And they're not going to be thinking about how that's going to affect them later on. They're just in the moment like a predator, doing anything they can to stop you. And I'm sure for many of you who are just tuning in now, this may sound quite scary to you. But this is real, this is how it is. If you're dealing with a narcissist, or at least someone who's highly narcissistic. And I find it funny, some commenters, it's pretty rare that anyone says this, but some of them, they comment how this content is fear-mongering. You're provoking fear in your viewers. And my response to that would be, yeah, I hope I am. I hope that people do feel the fear when they watch my content, because this is something to be afraid of. These people are dangerous. They're unpredictable. So you need to be tuned into your fear when you're dealing with them. That's what's going to help you to survive, because they are dangerous. And when you ignore them, when you go no contact, sometimes you never know what they might do next. They will try and ruin you. And you may be thinking, no, they wouldn't do this to me. They value my services and what I provide to them. When they're in the moment, they just don't even care. They're not even thinking about that. They're not thinking about how it's going to affect them later. So you really have no protection then. And this is why you've got to be really careful when you ignore narcissists, when you go no contact. Some of them may come back with a love bombing. Some of them won't even try that. They may see it as such a threat to them that they just want to destroy you. They will feel slighted, like you've challenged their ego. And they will do anything then to prove that they are important, they are powerful. They will really want to show you, they will really want to put you in your place. Some of these people are crazy. And you've got to be aware of this. You've got to protect yourselves. And, what I would say is to never make these decisions by yourself. You need to speak to a coach or a therapist first. Explain your situation to them. Explain the type of personality you're dealing with. And then let them tell you if it's safe for you to make any sort of moves, any sudden changes, such as ignoring them, going no contact, whatever it may be. Because essentially it's like the same thing as navigating a minefield. One wrong move could set something off. Or it's like you're standing in a field somewhere, and right in front of you is a hungry lion. You don't know if it's safe for you to move a muscle. You don't know if it's even safe for you to breathe in that environment. You have to seek expert advice to know whether or not it's safe for you to make that next move. So this is very important, and I cannot stress this enough. You must speak to a coach or therapist first before you ignore a narcissist, before you go no contact. It's very important that you do that, because otherwise, I can't accept any responsibility for what people do. If you choose to make that decision and ignore a narcissist or go no contact, and then something happens to you, God forbid. But yeah, this is why I advise that you speak to the experts first. Because like I always say, they are unpredictable. When their ego feels threatened, you never know how they might react. 96 live viewers, give it a thumbs up if it's been helpful to you so far. But yeah, typically, if they think that you are still susceptible to it, they may try to love bomb you first. That's what many of you may see. They may act nice, kind, sweet again. They may bring back the false character. But typically, even if you fall for that, it's not going to last for long. It might last a few days if you're lucky, a couple of weeks. And then they're going to go right back to their old ways. You're not going to see any consistent change from the narcissist. Not without intensive therapy and accountability. So don't expect any changes just because you spend some time away from them. They're going to go right back to how they were before. And not only that, you will go back to how you were before. Even though you may think that you've moved on now, you've healed, going back to a narcissist is going to bring back those feelings again. It's just going to reinforce that trauma bond. Everything that you try to unlearn. Going back doesn't solve anything. You're never going to get those answers, that closure that you're looking for. Narcissists, they're notorious for this. This is one of the signs that you're dealing with a narcissist, is that they never give you the explanation for why they did what they did. You never get the answers, no matter how much time goes on. They'll never give you that. They don't even have it to give to you. They can't even tell you why they acted that way. Many of them don't even know it themselves. You've got a much better chance at analyzing it and figuring it out by yourself than by ever going to them and asking them why they did things. They lack the emotional maturity and the mental capacity to even analyze their own behavior. They lack self-awareness. So it's no good going to them and asking them, why did they treat you that way? That's like going to a lion and asking it, why did it chase after you? It's not going to be able to tell you that. You just have to look at their actions and analyze it by yourself. Or watching these videos, these videos can give you closure. But you're not going to get these answers from them. What it's going to be is more, you might go to them and ask them questions. Or they might say certain things to you. Whatever they think you want to hear, they're going to give that to you. They might not be able to explain it all because they don't really understand anything themselves. So you're just going to end up filling in the gaps for them. It's going to be more you asking, because you're going to have to. You're going to be kind of like asking loaded questions. You'll be asking them things like, this is why you did this, isn't it? This is why you treated me this way. And then they will just say yes. They will just agree to it. If they know that that's what you want to hear. But not because there's any genuine self-reflection or because they understand their behaviors. No, it's all mirroring. They're getting these ideas from you. This is not anything that they're understanding by themselves. And that's what you've really got to understand. That's what you've got to accept, is that you're never going to get the answer from them. You're never going to get closure. We have to figure this stuff out by ourselves. We have to analyze it. Stop listening to their words and look at their behaviors, their motivations. What's the incentive for them doing that? And that's what I do. I just pick it all apart and I analyze it. And that's how I'm able to give you such a detailed description of a narcissist, of why they behave in the ways that they do, and even being able to predict what they're going to do next. Because I've had so much experience with them. I've been studying them now for such a long time. And it's really just like an animal. I mean, typically, you know, with many animals that live in this world, we already know what most of them are like and how they are likely to behave if we are around them or if we do certain things. And it's the same thing with a narcissist. And, you know, they never really change. All that they change is the mask. They just wear different masks. But underneath the mask, they're always the same. They can seem unpredictable to you at first, but if you spend enough time around them, they soon become very predictable. And what once seemed so exciting, so thrilling, with all of the highs and lows like an emotional roller coaster, it soon becomes very boring, tiring, exhausting. It really does. When initially, being around this person who always had to have the power and direct everything, it was so exciting in the beginning. But then you spend enough time around them, it does get boring because they become so predictable. It just gets to a point where it's like, I already know exactly what you want to do, or that I know exactly what you want to do after that, and I know exactly why you want to do it. And when it's all exposed, they really do become boring. It loses that excitement because the only thing they really had was the mystery, like a puzzle to be solved. You couldn't understand, why did they do certain things? What was their motive? Did they know what they were doing? You had all of these questions about it. But yeah, it gets to a certain point where it's just not so exciting anymore. They're not as fascinating as they once seemed. It's like you've exposed this little man hiding behind the curtain, pretending to be God, like in The Wizard of Oz. That's really what it's like, you know, when you uncover, when you reveal everything. And it can be something to grieve, you know, it can be quite sad when you reach this point. Because there was a time where there was so much mystery, where you didn't know where they were when they would leave you, when they didn't call. And you were just so fascinated by how different they were to you and, you know, their lifestyle. You know, what are their motives? You just had all of these ideas, all of these questions of them. But then in the end, you know, when it's just laid bare before you, when you finally get it, when you finally clicks, you're not chasing after anything anymore. Because now you get it, now you understand, there is no confusion. And that's just it, you know. It can even get to a point where you may wish that it could go back to how it was before. Where you've got so much experience that you do kind of miss that thrill, you miss that excitement. But this is it, you know, there's always so much more to learn, so much more to know. You know, there's no one in this world who understands everything about narcissists. There are so many disagreements, so many debates about it. And let's not forget, not all narcissists are the same. They do have certain differences. There are certain variations. And even for me, I'm always learning every day. Every day I learn new things. And I don't think there will ever be a time where I can say that I know everything. It's just going to keep going. And so for me, it's still exciting, to keep learning more about these disorders. And yeah, that's what we're going to continue to do on this channel. As I mentioned before, I'm going to start making content going into detail about why narcissists do specific things. Like when you were with them, if you're not with them anymore, maybe you were living together and there was just certain things that they would do. Little things, and at that time you just couldn't understand why. It was so confusing. It was like, why did you say this for? What was it inside of you that made you say this? What made you do this instead of that? It's just these little things, and you just can't understand why. And yeah, that's what I'm planning to expose very soon on my channel. All of these things that just rattle your mind, and you just couldn't figure it out. Instead of it just being so general about, what happens when you ignore them, or, why do narcissists devalue you? Because by this point, I think we've all seen enough of these types of content. But yeah, I've got a lot of new ideas coming very soon. And it's really aimed to bring back that sense of mystery. Because, that was what we once had. And, it did bring a lot of excitement. It was like an emotional roller coaster. It was like watching a movie. Of course, my videos, they are like short movies. But it's really, that there is so much more mystery to the narcissist than people realize. There's so many things that people think they know, and it's just not even right. It's just not even true. And in all honesty, there's things that even now we don't know. There's things we may never know. But yeah, let me know what you think about this video. Let me know if any of you have ignored the narcissist already. How did your narcissist respond to that? Or are you planning to ignore them? Have you had enough? Let me know your situation. Are you still with the narcissist? Have you broken up? Are they hoovering you? Let me know where you are. 103 live viewers, give it a thumbs up if it's been good for you so far. Amanda Woods says they absolutely are totally predictable. I don't know what you're talking about. The most predictable people alive. Well, maybe for you, but you got to understand, there are billions of views on narcissist videos on YouTube alone. So clearly, for most people, narcissists are not predictable. And in fact, I think most people would say that they are the most unpredictable people alive because, we're not like them. We're not narcissistic, we're not self-absorbed, exploitative, we don't lack empathy for people. So we're puzzled, we can't understand them. It's very difficult for us to figure them out, and that's why so many of us are here learning about this, trying to understand it. But yeah, that's the thing, once you do start to learn about it and you analyze their behaviors from outside of their world, then it starts to make more sense. And that's when they become more predictable. But initially, if you're dealing with a narcissist, if you're a victim, I would say probably the number one trait of a victim is going to be the confusion. You're going to be confused. You're not going to understand it. Will says, why do they like to give you clues on what they're doing and what they're up to and what they have done? Well, that's because they think you're going to be susceptible to it, or maybe they've seen already that you have been susceptible to it. And, it has sparked your curiosity, your intrigue. And so they keep giving you the breadcrumbs, the trail of breadcrumbs, like in Hansel and Gretel. They leave you following the trail. That gives them a sense of power because they're able to determine your behavior and direct the course of events. So that's exciting for them, is when they get to lead and they have you following them along. It's exciting for them because they know they don't even deserve to have you following behind them. So that's why it's so exciting. And it makes them feel so powerful. So that's why they like to create all of this confusion and then get you to seek validation from them. It's because of the sense of power and control it gives to them. But yeah, they can do some really sick things. They might cheat on you with someone and they'll leave like condoms in the drawer or something deliberately. And also, that's because they know it's going to put you into fight or flight. It's going to target your nervous system, trigger anxiety. And they love it when you're in that state, when they can destabilize you. Then they can point the finger at you and call you crazy. Or they can say, why are you going through their things? They love that feeling of control when they can project a ridiculous situation onto you and make it out like it was your fault. Matt Smith says, it never ceases to amaze me how they all follow identical, predictable patterns across all cultures. Well, that's it, I think this is, it may be about survival for the weak. When someone is weak, vulnerable, they feel inadequate, they kind of resort to these behaviors in order to survive. And as well as that, it could also be social conditioning. So they're all like sheep. Yeah, that's it, Matt Smith, you got it. Sorry, I only now read that after I just said what I said. Matt Smith says it boils down to survival instinct. The ego must be maintained at all costs. That's exactly right. And here's the thing, we could all appear like a narcissist. If there's like a serious threat to you and, your life is on the line, you're going to do anything you can to protect it. Some of us, we might kill someone. We might become cannibals if we have to. The thing with narcissists is they act this way when the situation is not even that extreme, it's uncalled for. So that's what makes them a narcissist. It's all in their minds. It's a fragile ego. Those of you who follow me on my TikTok, you may have seen that the other day we reached 30,000 followers, which is incredible. I think I've had the TikTok account now since maybe 2021, so it's been about 4 years to get 30,000 followers. So yeah, it is quite difficult, to get people to follow on TikTok. It's much easier to get the plays, the views. But it's great to see, we've got a growing, strong community on TikTok as well. And now I'm working on the Facebook group. Definitely check that out if you're not on there yet. The Facebook group is called Narc Survivor. And also I'm now updating the blog every day as well on the website. The website is narcsurvivor.co.uk. But yeah, if this video is good for you, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to comment down below as well. I read you the comments every day. So let's start a discussion together. If you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when I go live again. And for one-on-ones, you can book with me. Go to the website. It's narcsurvivor.co.uk. The Instagram is also narcsurvivor.co.uk. But yeah, for now, I'm just at this house. Been doing a lot of work in here. The laptop. And hopefully I will be in another city in the next few days. So maybe some new scenery. It's just difficult to do outdoor videos now though. The signal isn't too good around here. But we'll see, you know, if I can find a place with good signal. I'll do an outdoor video again. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thank you all for joining me. And I look forward to speaking with you in another live very soon.